So today we're going to be going over a handful of fragrances that you shouldn't even bother with sampling first. You should just go ahead and blind buy them. That's something that a lot of people will probably get upset about, but when you look at the pricing of some of these, it makes financial sense to not waste money purchasing a sample online. You know, if you can get the bottle for 25, 30 bucks online, you know, how much are you going to pay for a sample by the time shipping and tax is included? It just doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to me. And some of these in here are a little bit more expensive, and in that route, you know, maybe it's something that you still want to consider. However, they are so safe, they are so mass-pleasing that you just might be wasting your time at that point. But I'm going to leave that up to you, right? You can make the decision yourself. I can tell you from my personal experience, all of these have been blind buys and all of them have been successful for me. And generally speaking, when you look at a lot of these, they're just blind buy safe scents. So if you don't want to mess around with sampling things, purchasing decants, trying to find these and track these down in retailers in person to smell them, you can go for these on a blind purchase and chances are you're going to come out really good. So I'll link these down below. It's important that you're shopping through discounters in order to get these for blind buy prices, you know, affordable prices. When we're talking retail, that's a different ball game, and at that point, you know, that would change things a little bit. But when you can get these usually for a discount around half off a retail or something like that, even a greater discount than that, it makes sense to do so. So I'll link them down below, do some shopping around. Also, I've got a mailing list you can sign up to. If you hit the link and number down below and sign up, you will be the first to know about any discontinued fragrances restocking, becoming available for purchase, any big sales that might pop up out of nowhere, all of that stuff. It's important to jump on there because usually things that are in demand sell quickly, and if you want to have a chance to get them, you'll want to be on the lists. Let's get things kicked off with Lacoste Match Point Eau de Parfum. This one's got vetiver. There's some citruses in here. Got some musk, a little bit of patchouli, giving it a little bit of a green feel, but not a whole lot. You'll find this one to be super clean, aromatic, fresh, and wearable. It smells like a spring day outside on the golf course or something, or on the tennis court in this case. It really does. It's just clean, crisp, green, refreshing, uplifting. There's just something that's, I don't know, I'm just very carefree and happy smelling about this. There's also the Eau de Toilette, which is great as well, and there's a fresher version also. The Eau de Parfum is probably the most well-rounded. It's going to be the best performer of the group, and it's probably the one that most of you are going to want to go ahead and get. You can probably not bother with the others if you just go for the EDP. And on discounters, this stuff is like 30 bucks. You know, very, very entry-level price. Definitely blind buy worthy here. On more ways than one, price, scent, mass appeal, quality, all of that stuff really checks out for this one. Definitely worth giving it a shot. Right around the same price point, around 30 bucks or so for this next one too. John Varvatos Vintage. Now, most of the John Varvatos fragrances fall in this price point, some a little bit more than others, but generally you're going to be in the 30s for these. This one is no exception. Also, another trend is that most of them are blind buy safe. There aren't really too many challenging ones. Even John Varvatos Oud, which is hard to find, but still it's a thing. That one isn't even challenging either. And it's, you know, it has Oud in the title. It's still super easy to pull off. So this is a brand that is just, you know, effortless to get into. It's got tobacco, suede, and balsam fir here. Another one that's masculine, aromatic, classy, refined. It smells amazing. It's one of their better offerings, I would say. You know, this one and the Dark Rebels, some of their best works. And the Dark Rebels are, again, a bit hard to get. This one is easy to get for 30 bucks all day long. If you're after something classy, refined, sophisticated, clean, but a little bit aromatic and smoky and masculine as well, check out John Varvatos Vintage. One that a lot of people probably have at this point, but if you don't, it is worth checking out. This next one is a little bit more expensive, but we're still keeping it affordable here. This one is around $40 or so, 40, maybe 45. It is Dolce & Gabbana The One Gray. So one of the least popular The One flankers, you know. The EDP gets the most talk all day, and some of the exclusive editions, those get a lot of talk too, really good scents. You don't hear a ton about The One Gray. This one is simply a fresher version of Dolce & Gabbana The One. Focusing quite a bit on vetiver here with this one. Vetiver, you get some of that grapefruit that is prominent in the EDT and EDP off the opening. It's more prominent here with the woods. Aromatic as well, getting some lavender in here. Clean, fresh, a little bit peppery. Gives off a little bit of a smoky feel just from the type of vetiver that they're using. It's not the same type of tobacco smokiness that you get from the others, but this is still a daytime alternative to the one EDP. If you only consider that one to be an evening out, date night scent, this could be your daily wear to work, to school type of deal. And again, it's more affordable, easy to blind buy, easy to wear, easy to get into. Everybody's gonna like the smell of this. Next up, we have Bulgari Man Wood Naroli. This one here, no surprise, as Naroli. It's got orange blossom, it's got musk, some woods, pretty general note breakdown there. The reason why I like this one so much is that the opening is so bright and kind of sour and has a little bit of a pettigrain, crushed up leaves kind of texture to it. This Naroli pettigrain texture, the orange blossom is giving it some of that slight sweetness and almost fruitiness, but it's still kind of floral also. The musk is pretty heavy here, just giving it a clean, carefree, smooth, easygoing spring smell. So could be a little out of season for some of you right now. For others of you, this would be more on time if you're on the other side of the world. But you could still wear this one pretty much whenever you want. If you've got a warmer fall day when the sun is out, like we've had a few of those here recently, it was getting up to like 60, 65, which normally is not warm, but it felt warm just because I was kind of used to cold there for a bit and the sun was out. Days like that would be perfect for this. You know, you've got some freshness, some sweetness for a great day like that. I really like this one. This is going to be around the $50 to $60 range, upping up the price a little bit more here, but it's still one that is just so easy to wear. People are going to like how this smells. If you like citrus scents, if you like clean, fresh scents, there's no reason you wouldn't like this. So pretty easy to get into. Next up, we have Lom Le Parfum by YSL. This is going to be $85, so a little bit more pricey. But again, here's the deal. Here's the rundown on it. Smells like a combination between Y Eau de Parfum and YSL Lom, the original, you know, OG. That's what this one is. So you get some of the gentlemanly, mature, classy smells from the original Lom, that kind of ginger, appley smell with the woods. That scent smells amazing. It's one of my favorites. And then you get some of the blue fragrance, kind of modern, trendy sweetness and fruitiness for that matter from Y Eau de Parfum. Take those, combine them together, and this also comes in at a lower price than both of those. Y Eau de Parfum is $95, $100. The original Lom is maybe around the price of this, but regardless of that, if you were to buy both of those, then you're definitely in way over the price of this. So 2 for the price of 1 deal. And already both of those scents that I'm mentioning here are super mass pleasing and for the most part just very likable. You know, the only hate that Y Eau de Parfum gets is from a, oh, that's generic standpoint. And if you subscribe to that crowd, then you're probably not watching this video and, you know, going to be buying any of these anyway. So if you're just someone who likes to smell good and get great compliments and have versatility, you know, get your use out of what you're paying your hard-earned money for, you cannot go wrong with Lom Le Parfum. Davidoff Cool Water Grapefruit and Sage. It's got grapefruit and sage. That, you know, literally that's all they give you. To be fair, that's about all you get too. You know, it's not overly complex here. It is pretty standard, pretty base level, but it does smell great. It's aromatic and it's citrusy. You know, that's about it. Doesn't even have really a cool water, aquatic type of smell to it either. Maybe it's got a little bit of that feeling, but it definitely isn't an aquatic. It's just citrusy and aromatic. And so there's not much more to say about it than that. It is pretty base level, like I had mentioned already, nothing exciting, but for $20, you can't beat it. Ferragamo Uomo Signature is up next. This one here is basically taking that original Uomo DNA and just making it a little bit more digestible. The original is very sweet. This one's also very sweet, but the leather and coffee does help to balance it out. And so I would say in a lot of situations, a lot of people are going to gravitate towards the Signature first, or more so. Just depends, you know, not always. I like them both. I am happy to have both, and I wouldn't want to get rid of one over the other. But just kind of, you know, from a realistic standpoint, this one's probably going to be a bit easier to wear. If you're after something that's gourmand and sweet, heavy and rich for wintertime, for an affordable price of about 40 bucks is what this one's going for right now. Very reasonable. Check it out. There was a point where this was going for around 60. It has since dropped. So $40 is kind of the standard for this right now. Don't go out there and pay a ton more than that for it. Not necessary. And again, you know, it's that price point where how much are you going to spend to get a sample shipped to your door? You know, it's going to be a 15 bucks or something like that for a decent size sample. You can just go in and buy this, and, you know, chances are you're still going to end up really liking it a lot. That's the way to go. Tommy Bahama Saint Kitts is up next. Now, this one here is really good. It's 25 bucks cent. It's an eau de cologne, so it's not, you know, strong by any means, but it does smell really good, and it does have the Tommy Bahama kind of personality to it. Tropical, fresh, summery, uplifting. It's got like a star fruit note in here and some other citruses and musks and watery notes and sea salt and all that stuff. It might remind you a little bit of like a Versace Man Eau Fresh, and yeah, definitely in the similar ballpark. Not dead on, but, you know, kind of gives you that similar feeling, although this one's about half the price. And Versace Eau Fresh is one of my favorites as well, and I don't find there to be a ton of redundance between the two. So it's kind of one of those things where you got to make that decision for yourself. From a blind buy standpoint, it doesn't get much better than this. You're just not going to make any sort of financial sense going out and buying a sample of this. In terms of smelling it, you know, in person, maybe you could go to a Tommy Bahama store if you have one near you. And I don't know what they do in terms of having this stuff in stock or not. This has been out for a long time. I don't know, you know, so it just makes sense to toss it in your cart for 20, 25 bucks next time you're placing an order. Chances are you're going to think it smells great. Running down to the end with Paco Rabanne Pure XS, the original. I almost said Pure XS Night for some reason. That one's always on my mind, but it's hard to get and also less blind buy worthy than this. So it makes sense to throw this guy in. 46 bucks, 100 ml tester, and I think they still come like this. I don't remember. I don't know if they made a change. I know Pure XS Night does not have the hinge. I think they might still produce these with the hinge, and in that case, you kind of have no choice but to have a cap. Regardless, I think they do come with a cap still. All the pictures of testers do. So 46 bucks, 100 ml tester with cap, mid-50s for full presentation. It makes sense to go tester. It's got sugar, liqueur, cinnamon, leather. Oh, it smells so good. This is such a nice fall winter scent. Another one that goes in that gourmand direction. It's sugary, it's sweet, a little bit warm, spicy kick. Has kind of a little bit of a smooth, leathery texture, and then just a real nice kind of ever so slight effervescent sparkle. Just a little bit. I don't know if it's from like the sugar and some of the sweet notes that they're using here, but it's just a little bit boozy, a little bit bright and sparkly. Dries down into something that's sweet and creamy and refined. You know, for a Paco Rabanne, you got to give them credit. This is actually not half bad. And by that, I mean this is actually really good. I like this a lot. Not afraid to admit it either. From a uniqueness standpoint, Pure XS Night will be more interesting, but I still love this. This is kind of like one of those guilty pleasures where, you know, you might feel a little bit like, I shouldn't be admitting how much I like this, but I really like it a lot. It's kind of what this is for me. It smells good. This is the type of thing that you can wear for anything in the fall and winter time, and people are going to love it. You're going to love it, most likely. It's affordable. Just go for it. Last up for this video, we have Shanci Gentleman Eau de Toilette Intense. This one's got cypress, basil, cedarwood, some other woods, some other aromatics. Smells kind of like, or it's more so, I guess, in the category of a Dior Homme 2020 for me, you know. Heavy on the woods, the vetivers, aromatics, and aroma chemicals. I'm not saying it's a clone of that or the Dior is a clone of this, whichever came first, I can't remember. It's not what I'm saying. It's not a clone situation, but they do kind of fit in a similar ballpark. Just a modern, fresh, woody men's scent. You know, like I've always described Dior Homme 2020, that scent smells like what you would see a guy on GQ cover wearing. You know, you see the dude on the front of GQ magazine, right? All dressed up, looking spiffy. If you were to scent him, it would be Dior Homme 2020, and this kind of fits in a similar ballpark. It's modern, clean, and fresh. It's just impossible to dislike. Alrighty, guys, that's going to do it for me. Some great blind buy worthy scents. Like I said, don't bother sampling them. Just do a blind buy. You're going to make out just fine. But don't hold me to it. Like I said, you kind of have to exercise some common sense and some, you know, research with that as well. If you don't like fresh scents and you start blind buying them, you might not like them. So it's things like that where you need to weigh those options and considerations. But if you have a general understanding of what you're into and you can apply that to each of these and look at them and see if it's going to be something that you would like or not, it really isn't that bad. It's not too hard to figure out, but that type of thing just takes time. Links will be down below. That's going to do it for me. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy. We'll see you tomorrow with another one. Take care.